Hello and welcome back to another edition of Damo's Team Talk. And of course, coming out of round 6, well, what can we say about it? It was carnage. That's literally all we can say about it. I managed to dodge a little bit of it, but copped a little bit at the same time as well. So delve into shortly as to how my team went. We'll go through also my trade options heading into round 7. And then we'll also roll through quickly VC and captaincy options. As always, if you like our content, if you like our weekly episodes, if you like the Team Talk episodes, and you haven't yet subscribed, please do so, because as I flick across to YouTube, you'll see there in terms of subscriber numbers, 2/3 of you that are enjoying our content, hopefully, but that are consuming our content, have yet to subscribe. So if you can do us one little solid, if you can just, you don't have to punch the subscriber button, you don't have to caress it. I mean, you can if you want, but you can just click the subscriber button, and we'll be very, very grateful for your subscription. Enough of that. Let's head across to the week that was, and I ended up scoring 2,188. So, I mean, it wasn't too bad. It could have been worse. That's what we always say. Could be worse. Could be worse. Somehow ended up, and I thought I was above par, but I didn't think I was going to jump as high as I did, which was almost a touch under 10k spots to now sit 14,315. So let's jump into my team and just have a quick squiz and summary of how things went. So Nicky Dacos, first off, what can you say? This bloke is an absolute superstar. Elite, absolutely elite. 145 first up. Tommy Stewart's been on my side for 2 weeks, delivered a 111 on the weekend, backing up a score of 135. So, I mean, it's great to have primos like that provide consistent scores, a bit of security. So, something my team has been lacking, that's for sure. Before I progress any further, for those of you who missed last week's team talk, in terms of the trades that I did, I'll flick across just quickly to show you what I did. So I ended up upgrading Ginby or Ginby, however you pronounce his name, Gin and Tonic, switched him or upgraded him to Sinclair, and then ended up cashing in Mackenzie and Baker for Johnson and Roberts. So yeah, I mean, it was good in terms of Sinclair, 105. I was weighing up between going for Cogs or Sinks, and whoever I didn't get last week, I was going to opt to get heading into round 7, which is Cogs. So much of a muchness, even though Cogs ended up scoring about 30 points more. It's still within reach in terms of being able to grab him. So not the end of the world, is what it is. Outside of that, in terms of rookies, Michelini ended up scoring a 50. Still went up in price, but so Michelini went up 20.6k. Off the back of last week, went up 47k, so 67k since I brought him in. I kind of got him in as a bit of a quick cash injection and a bit of an easy stepping stone up to a primo. So not the end of the world. Hopefully he can kickstart his cash generation and get some scores around the 82 to 103 like he did. But depth, nonetheless, he's cemented in Adelaide's side, so that is the main thing he provides. McKenna, 57. He's kind of hitting a bit of a wall at the moment. He's made us 135.1k. But as you can see there, his scores have been very up and down. Apart from the 86, his past month hasn't been the greatest. His break even now sits at 62, and his average is 71. Sorry, let me get a bit of a drink. Too many Pepsi Maxes. Next up we had Cowan, and interesting with him, I had Wilmot on the bench, scored 39, and of course was able to loop on his score if he scored well enough, which he didn't because of Day being suspended. But I opted for Cowan, of course, expecting him to score above 39. And what do you know? He didn't. He actually scored 4 points less than Wilmot, so that was nice of him. And then, I guess the Day's a nice segue in terms of him being on the bench. I've held him for the past 2 weeks through suspension. So the fact that I get him back means that I have one less rookie on the field. Also with the fact that Tom Green also comes back this week, so both a nice sort of injection of 2 potential keepers back into my starting lineup, which is awesome. So super amped for that heading into round 7. Bontempelli 182 locked him in as the vice captaincy scorer, or the captaincy scorer as my VC. Amazing. Heads into his 200th game this weekend, so hopefully he can continue on with his strong form on his milestone game. Rory Laird 126. Happy I've kept him, obviously, after his slow start to the year. LDU had a bit of a downer, 72. But I must say, for those of you out there who also are owners of the UDL, don't be too worried. I mean, he dropped a fair bit of chunk of coin there, but he did have a bit of a niggle on the weekend, spent a whole heap of time on the bench. I think there was about 15-20 minutes at one stage he was on the bench, getting looked at. Then due to rotations, couldn't find his way into the field. And he only had 83 minutes time on ground compared to obviously previous weeks where he's had between 105 and 110 minutes on the ground, and you'll see there his points per minute were virtually on par with his past few weeks. So don't worry, don't be too fearful about that performance there. But yeah, tough matchup obviously in round 7 against the D's, but hopefully he can turn that form around. Good old, I will do anything if you score well, which he didn't on the weekend. He scored a 47, but, I mean, everyone's got him. He's in 43% of teams, so just rest assured, if he has a down game, it's going to affect everyone, not just you. So that's pretty much that. Not too worried about him. I still think he should be a keeper in the forward line at the moment, just resting in my midfield, plugging holes. Is what it is. Hopper, going from strength to strength, scored a 94, went up 22.3k. He's gone up 98.9k in total. And yeah, he should go up at least another 50k over the next 2 weeks if he can maintain his average. Actually, another 60k over the next 3 weeks. So he will be my stepping stone, I think, to the sweaty pink pig himself in Clary Oliver. So looking forward to that. He'll be around about 496, hopefully, touch under 500k in 3 weeks' time. Hopefully, that is means that we'll have to fork out probably about 150, 200k to get Oliver in the team. But I mean, it's easier than trying to, get an Ashcroft up to him or something, which is going to cost you another 100k on top of that. So hopefully that works out. Ashcroft's scored a 76, pretty much on par with what he's averaging. He'll be one of the last rookies to upgrade, so he's going from strength to strength, going well. Philippou, he was just playing like his name, absolute poo. He was playing like shit. Played against Mob on the weekend, didn't look too crash hot, had a couple of nice marks, but his break even is 44 now, which is creeping up there ever so close to his average. So he is someone I'll be thinking long and hard about moving on this week, cashing in potentially, because I don't think he has too much more cash to make. Like SuperCoach Plus has him going up 4.8k if he scores a 55. But I think aside from that, he's going to be a slow burn unless he has a game like Ben King on the weekend where it's going to kickstart his cash generation if he has a high score. And then it'll stay in his rotation for 3 weeks and hopefully get, a bit more cash out of him over those 3 weeks. So thinking long and hard about him. Obviously, Matt Roberts went up 18.8k, kind of a slap in the face though, because he obviously went down with a knee injury. But he's someone I think you can probably afford to hold for the time being anyway. Just wait to see what the prognosis is in terms of his layoff. He is a forward midfielder, so you could potentially use him as a loophole option, which is what I'll probably be doing, and loopholing someone in the forward line, using Constable as a loophole option between defence and midfield. So you got to look at the silver linings here, out of the shit things from week to week. Otherwise, you just go insane. Now, Matty Johnson, I was going to call him Michael Johnson, which for those of you who are Freo supporters and know Michael Johnson, the old Freo player, I see M Johnson and I just refer to him as Michael Johnson, so I caught myself before I said it. He's got up 16.4k, didn't go too well on the weekend with a 35, but he showed a few promising signs. takes the game on. So he's got a fair bit of confidence. So hopefully when he gets up to speed of senior footy, he will start punching out some nice scores. So, and we saw that as well in the preseason. So not the end of the world there. And hopefully he can kick up that average and make us some bulk cash, because that's what I've got him for. Charlie Constable, as I said, will be that roaming loophole between defence and midfield. Darcy, who to do? Slash Shrek. He should just change his name now, make it easy. Went up another 31.5k. And off the back of, mind you, his past month, chef kiss, 132, 125, 136, and 137. So, like, you can't ask for much more, especially coming off a shit game of 41 against North. Incredible scenes. This week faces Oscar McInerney, Darcy Fort potentially against Brisbane. But if he scores as well as he's scoring at the moment, like, incredible. I think he's the second top scoring ruck at the moment behind English. So who would have thought that he would be the, second choice ruck at the moment? A lot of people traded him out, and after round 2 would be definitely kicking themselves. So hopefully he keeps hooting the door and goes well. Rowan Marshall, I'll be thinking about him being a potential luxury upgrade down the track, potentially for Gawn when he drops in price. But yeah, we'll wait and see. Dunks, Taranto, Rosie, all top 6 forwards performing like it as well. So super happy with that. Jay-Z going from strength to strength, and just that flexibility as well, which is provided through his defensive forward DPP. He's going to come into fruition this week, and I'll show you shortly when I delve into my trades. But again, he went up 24.8k, and he's kind of veering into keeper territory at the moment for me, I think. Scoring a 92, 106, 111, so he is going very, very well. Has, however, a tough matchup against the Ds, you would think, but nonetheless going well. Now, She's Nuts. Check out She's Nuts. Lick on She's Nuts. Sheezel. He is incredible. But must say on the weekend was far from it. 53. But again, like the other high-owned players, is in 79% of teams. So if he has a downer, it affects everyone. If he has an upper, it affects everyone. Uppers, downers, different meanings behind that. But if he does have a bit of a shit week, it's going to affect everyone. So don't stress too much. But yeah, it kind of makes me reconsider him being maybe a keeper, or is he someone that could be a luxury upgrade down the track? But yeah, I mean, he's a rookie. He's a first-year rookie. We've got to keep that in mind. So got us to have a bit of perspective. Kate Chandler. Now, you would have heard us, Liam and I, we banged on about this bloke when he was on the bubble to get him in, prioritise him. When I featured on SuperCoach Masters channel, if any of you that tuned in, you might remember, they, for some reason, had him on their top 10 list in terms of trade-in candidates, 10th, and I had him first. And there was a reason for it, and that there is the reason why. Sorry, you can just see that, 173.3k that he's made us. Again, kickstarted his cash generation. Again, incredibly perfect timing. Scored an 85. Went up 17.8k on the weekend, and could potentially go up again another, 30, 40, another 50k over the next 3 weeks. So he could, he should go above the 200k mark, which really makes up for rookies that I've culled early in terms of Davey. Who else did I cull early? Mainly just him. So it makes up that difference when you look at it from that perspective. So super happy with Cade, but going to be keeping him. He's an on-field. I played him on-field for, I think, one of the first times all season. And he delivered quite nicely with an 85. So super happy with that. And then Fergus Green. Again, that's like 3 weeks in a row now. He scored in the 70s. Went up another 42.1k to go up 149.6k. And here we were thinking that he's not going to make much money after round 3. So he has been a diamond in the rough, and he's going to go up another 40k at least. So pushing towards that 200k mark. So keep hold of him. His break even as well is a 4. So we can ride him into the moon. Samson Ryan, again, he was someone that Liam and I both opted for ahead of JVR, Van Ruin. For the pure fact that he has that ruck forward eligibility. So a bit of flexibility, and we know how many ruckmen have gone down across the course of the season so far. So even though I think JVR probably should make a bit more coin than Samson Ryan, it gives me a bit of security knowing that I have a bit of coverage if Marshall or Darcy go down for a week or two, because Wits owners would know fully well, with him missing through soreness, everyone thought it was going to be a 1 week prospect, stretched out to 2, and yeah, if you're in that situation, they either had to cop a donut or trade him out or trade in a rookie, and virtually waste a trade. So that security he provides is more than makes up for any I guess shortfall in terms of coin that he's making, but he did go up 37.4k off the back of an 82 on the weekend. And the fact, I will just jump across here, got it already. Here's something I prepared for you earlier, and it is here. You'll see Samson Ryan had 49% time in the ruck, and compared to Ben Miller, who of course was subbed off as well. So that shows that the coaching staff have full faith in Samson Ryan's ability in the ruck, and yeah, I mean, you can see the numbers there. It was flipped on its head compared to the previous week. So great signs there for Samson Ryan going forward. And he should make another 50k at the very least, negative 17 break even heading into round 7. And he should make another 50k or thereabouts, pushing towards that 130k mark cash made overall. And that's pretty much where my team sits at the moment. So let's delve into the juicy part of the team talk, which is always discussing the trades heading in to the next round, round 7 in this case. So first and foremost, I'm just going to do this. Will Day, Tom Green. It means, as I said earlier, that I don't have to play 2 rookies. So just to save things in terms of movements and stuff, let's just click the optimize button and see what SuperCoach Plus has in store for us. And there we go. So it's obviously brought on Tom Green, Will Day, 2 potential keepers. Off go the rookies. Thank the Lord. And yeah, that's pretty much how it looks at the moment. In terms of trades, just cross-check each of the lines. Take that off there. That can go there. And then, yeah, in terms of trades, as I mentioned earlier, Cogs is someone that I'm targeting. He has now bottomed out at 499.2. To be fair, actually bottomed out last week at 485.6. So if you jumped on him, you've saved 13.6k. So good work for you. But yeah, he's projected to potentially go up a 23.2k rise if he can score 100, because his break-even is 49. So if you are looking for a primo, he is definitely someone I would be prioritising in everyone's case, unless you've got a fully stacked forward line, which I doubt people do. And as I alluded to just before as well, the fact that we've got Jay-Z and Sheasel, it means now that I can switch one of these blokes back and solidify my forward line with Cogs. So Cogs will virtually go into their spot, Jay-Z will go back, and it means that I can bench one of Michelini or McKenna. So Cogs is 499.2k. I've only got 74.5 in the bank. I think at the moment, in terms of guys that are expendable, McKenna is probably one with a really high break even of 62. Michelini as well, 69. And then the other one would be Wilmot, who's got a highest break even of 38, but his scoring has been down and absolutely tripe over the past few weeks. So I think those are the 3 blokes that are in the gun at the moment. Don't want to get rid of anyone else. I mean, Philippi could potentially, as I mentioned before, he's got a break even of 44, but he's got that midfield forward DPP eligibility. It's hard. Sorry, just before I do that as well, let me just undo changes, because I want to show you the impact that having Tom Green and Will Day available has on my team. So at the moment, let me just put the captaincy on there. The projected break even at the moment is 2,199. When I bring Day and Green on, look what it jumps to, 2,458. Incredible. Again, chef kiss. But yeah, in terms of who we we'll chat about the captaincy and VC options later on. But yeah, so in terms of trade out options, it's Philippou, McKenna, Michelini, and Wilmot. We can't afford to trade out any guys like Cowan because, just using, for example, if we're going to use McKenna as a springboard to Cogs, we need to find 199k. We've already got 74.5k, which means that we need to find 125 or thereabouts. So trading someone like a Cowan down to Seamus Mitchell, who is the highest priority in terms of cash cows in the bubble this week, that's only going to give me 80k because Mitchell's worth at around about 123. So that's not enough cash. So what we could do is, all right, let's just say, for example, we'll get rid of Michelini, keep McKenna. So we'll use him. And then in terms of trade outs of cash cows, it'll be either Wilmot or Philippou. I think at this stage, the fact that Wilmot has the defensive midfield eligibility, I can swing with Constable, provides me with a bit more flexibility compared to Philippou, who I've already got Roberts as a forward mid. Roberts isn't going to play, obviously he's injured, but it's just more having that swing, so I can swing someone like a Rosie into the midfield. And I have decent enough cash cows and cover on the bench up forward. So let's just say, and it may change this, but at the end of the day, we're going to trade in Cogs. We're going to bring in Seamus Mitchell. Those are the two moves that we're going to be making this week. As to who goes out, in terms of Michelini, McKenna, Philippou or Wilmot, we'll have to decide. But let's just settle on Michelini at the moment, and we'll settle for Philippou at the moment as a cash cow that is all moved out. So let's do this. So we're going to bring in Seamus in defense. Seamus, Mitchell, and there's going to be a bit of switching around as well, so don't be fearful of that. And then, so Constable goes there, and then we can shift back JZ, which you can see there. JZ goes back, and it means now that we can bring Cogs into the forward line. So just change that. He should be at the top. 499.2k. He is value. Leaves it at 25k in the kit. Complete the trades. There we go. And it looks a little something like this. Alrighty. Cogs into the forward line. There we go. So that's pretty much how it looks at the moment. Just switch that up. Johnson is the E. That's it at the moment. Looking pretty good. So super happy with how it looks at the moment. I mean, that defense is 4 players deep at the moment. McKenna, again, he's someone I think that's got a higher floor compared to a Wilmot and compared to Philippou at the moment. We know what he can score, 93, 78, 86. If he can score that again, he can really kickstart his cash generation. Plays Freo, who are absolutely struggling at the Gabba this weekend. So there is scope for him to potentially kickstart his cash gen again. His historical form line goes back to when he was playing at the Dons, so can't really read into that too much, but hopefully he can do that, so back him in. Brisbane, however, play the second game against Freo, so in terms of loophole options, we can't really use we could potentially do Seamus Mitchell to there. Will they switch with Constable? And then if McKenna scores well, loop him on. And then Will Day would obviously switch there. Just provides a bit of depth in the forward line, and then probably that in that case, Wilmot. I have to choose between Wilmot and Johnson for the E, and then I could use Roberts as a bit of a loophole option. And switch potentially. Yeah, it's getting stronger now, so it's hard to sort of switch and work out who to try and loop, which is a good thing. But outside of that, I could always potentially, we'll just go back. So that's one option in terms of looping. there's so much room for activities, as they say. But I could also potentially switch Seamus Mitchell here. And this is the beauty, again, of having the DPP switches. So if you are going for Seamus Mitchell and you own a Jay-Z or a Sheezel or both, try and have him on the opposing line to where Sheezel or Jay-Z is, because obviously that means that you can use and utilize that DPP swing across your field, which is always handy. So in this case, I could potentially, if I wanted to, if I had more faith in sort of, a Green or a Ryan, for example, and I didn't want to play Mitchell or McKenna, I could always switch Sheezel into defense, take off McKenna, and then I could sub on, say, a Green, or sub on a Samson Ryan. So yeah, it gives us a fair bit of options anyway, nonetheless. But at the moment, I've got to go through the fixture, work out who plays first, and work out a method to this madness. But the fact that I've got strength and across the field, and I've got multiple DPP options. I've got mid defense, I've got forward to defense, I've got mid forward, I've got ruck forward, I've got options all across the. Sorry, I just punched the microphone. Hopefully, I didn't punch you in the ear as you're watching this. But there's DPP sort of swings I can make across the field, so that provides a bit of flexibility, which is always helpful. But yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at the moment. I think in terms of, we'll shift across just ever so quickly. Actually, before we do that, in terms of captaincy and vice captaincy options, I'm probably going to go for Bont, just because he's playing his 200th game. He's in some absolutely scintillating form at the moment. He's passed 3 weeks, all captaincy scores, so looking good. Play the Hawks. Connor Nash may potentially try and tag him. He's probably the one would do the job, because he's done a tagging job over the past couple of weeks for the Hawks, and he's done a pretty good job. So has meant that they haven't had to have played McGuinness. So yeah, keep an eye on that. But that's the only thing I'm worried about potentially. But back in the Le Bont, and then the captaincy would probably. Can you go past? Look at Dakes. He's projected for 166. That is absolutely heinous. Especially heinous, as they say. SVU. Law and Order. It'd probably be between Laird and Dakes. But of course, they're playing each other in the last game of the round. So hopefully we don't have to make that choice. In terms of... I've got 2 more boosts left. I could potentially use another boost to bring in another cash cow that's on the bubble. The only one that I would potentially consider is Sam Sturt. Had a few years in the game now, but struggling with injury. Scored a 37 first up, and then a 62. Scored 2 goals on the weekend. He's going to look like he's going to make bank, but I do have doubts over his job security, and even less so, or even more so in terms of doubts, his teammate in Corey Wagner, who is a defensive midfielder, provides a little bit of flexibility. Negative 36 break even, but he is someone that across the journey of his career has really struggled with disposal efficiency. And we saw that, I think it was his first game, he turned the ball over directly and from a kick out, and they ended up having a shot on goal and kicked a goal. So he is someone that I'm really worried about. And just because of the fact that, where are we? So I'll bring up his stats. So this, by the way, is DFS Australia. Check out. It's got kick-ins, it's got CBAs, it's got ruck contest percentages, it's got everything. Incredible. But Corey Wagner, so if you look at his disposal efficiency across his career, you'll be able to see here, they're there. So they're not the most crash hot in terms of disposal efficiency. There are games there where you can see there like 56, 55, 56, 63, low 60s and 50s just isn't good enough. And I think as a mature age player as well, like he's been in the game since 2016, had a little bit of time out of it as well, obviously, played back in the VFL, but I think Longmuir was going to be less tolerant with someone like him who's a mature ager who shouldn't be making the same mistakes that a rookie, genuine rookie should be making. So I'm worried the fact that, and this is now his third stint at another AFL club. He's been at North, he's been at Melbourne, as you can see there. So I think him turning the ball over doesn't bode well for his longevity in Freo's lineup. Also, the fact, and probably more so, is that Chapman is returning from injury and will be in line for selection, potentially for his spot. So wouldn't be surprised to see him dropped come the team announcements this week. So yeah, I'm not overly keen on taking the plunge for him. Mind you, he's already in 8% of teams, so people have gone early on him. So for those people, hopefully he doesn't get dropped. But again, I am rather worried about him. So I think outside of Seamus Mitchell, really, there aren't any other players that I'm keen on this week. You'll see there, people are going early on Chin Cotter. Bargain basement rookie is a defender midfielder. So again, he provides that same flexibility that Wagner does. But I think comparing the two, I'm much more confident in going for Chin Cotter as a, obviously, Carlton man. He's playing the role that like a Doherty would. And I do think that the Moo Cow in Cowan might get rested in coming weeks, potentially, because he just looks like he's slowing down a fair bit, making a few errors, and might need a bit of a break, a bit of a rest. First-year player, only played the 6 games, so look out for that. But that will mean that the job security for Chin Cotter obviously goes up. I think Doc's still out for another 4 to 5 weeks minimum. So that would bode well for him. Obviously, Adam Sard comes back potentially as soon as this week. Might spell trouble for him. But the fact that you have other guys like Plowman, who is on the outer, who would normally be a first 22 player, says to me that I think, Chin Cotter, the fact that he's given the spot over someone like a Plowman, that his job security, in the short term anyway, is quite sound. So he did score a 67 on the weekend. Looked pretty good. Looked composed. Had 24 disposals. Well, he had more than what I thought. So can rack up the pill. That's for sure. Yeah. So he's someone that I'll be eyeing off next week, and I wouldn't again feel confident in going early on with him only playing the 1 game. So I will be looking to bring him in potentially next week off the back of, say, a Wilmot or a Cowan even potentially as well. So outside of that, I just wanted to check in terms of guys that I've got on my watch list, which I'll disclose with you now. Bit of a secret. But we have the likes of, obviously got Sinclair. So these are guys that I'm eyeing off in terms of primos potentially dropping down in price. Got Sinclair. Tookie Miller I can probably scrub off for now, but I'll leave him there for now. Lockie Neal down the line, potentially. Andy Brayshaw's in shit form at the moment, so he's not even in consideration. Dropped 89.5k. Sicily is probably the one that I'm looking at the moment. He's already dropped 91k, and his break even is a 111, and his average is 99. So he could potentially make that on the weekend to come, but I'll wait another week, potentially 2, and look to bring him in over the coming couple of weeks. Dawson, as we mentioned, it's probably someone that you could wait for. So hopefully those of you out there that held and didn't go for him now can reap the dividends, like myself and Liam, who waited, because there's always a chance that he has a down game and gets found out, gets tagged. And he did have that down game on the weekend. So he dropped, he still went up 12k because he has in his rolling average a 173 and a 152, but the 78 is going to stay there for the next 2 weeks. So it means that his break even is going to stay quite high, as you can see there. So he should drop another 30 to 40 potentially k, depending on his projections. They haven't projected for 120, which is bang on with what he's averaging at the moment. So it is achievable, but you should be able to get him for that 630k mark if you are keen on him. Clary Oliver is the big one for me. He is the goose that laid the golden egg, as we refer to him as the pink sweaty pig. I've got the smell of bacon wafting through the air, so I am rubbing together my little trotters to get him in my team. Dropped 30.5k. Thankfully, he had a sub 100 game. It looked like he was going to eclipse it late in the game. Started slow like he did against the Dons. Came good late. but still dropped 30.5k. So both of these low scores of his will stay in his rolling rotation for another week. And then that will stay, the 98 will stay in his rolling rotation for another 2 weeks, which means that his break-even is going to be quite high, albeit he plays North Melbourne on the weekend, which, when he last played them, he scored 178 above the break-even. So fingers crossed that doesn't happen. So should be able to potentially get him for hopefully the 630 range. Hopefully he doesn't meet projections there and can drop a little bit further. So 630 would be quite nice. And it would actually mean that he would have lost about 60k or thereabouts. So be super happy with that to get him in. And that'll probably come at the expense of a hopper, which, like I mentioned earlier, I mean, he should max out at around about a touch under 500k, and it should mean that it'll only cost us, if Clary can get down to 630, it'll cost us 130. So trade-in of a Wilmot down to a Seamus, for example, and then bang, you get him in off the back of 2 trades, really. So looking forward to that. And then also Sammy Walsh, my boy Sammy Walsh. I can't have this man. Sorry, that's 2 double negatives. I've got to have this bloke in my team. How about that? That's easy to say. Break even on the weekend will be 117. He's come back in a blaze of glory. 104 and 130 on the weekend. Faces West Coast as well. Paltry opposition. And they've got him projected for 102, but I think he's going to probably go 120 odd. So he's someone that I'm going to probably have to bide my time for. But if push comes to shove and it's choosing between Walshy and Clary, I'm sorry Walshy, but I'm going to have to go for the big pink sweaty pig in this case. So that's kind of my plans over the coming weeks. But first and foremost, I think Sicily is probably going to be the easiest one to get in, and it will mean that I'll have a decked out defence. And he'll probably obviously take the spot of Seamus Mitchell. Jay-Z, there's still that flexibility there where I can switch in between Sheasel and go from there between defence and forward. But yeah, apart from Sicily, I think Dawson's the only one that I'll be missing out on in terms of, I guess big primos or, those that I'm predicting to be top 6 scorers. So everything's come to plan at the moment in terms of trade-ins, jumping on primos at the right time. Rookies are doing really well, albeit I'm down to 21 trades. But I think in terms of how strong my team is at the moment, I mean, I'm 5 deep in defence. I'm 4 deep, 5 deep in the midfield at the moment, with a nice mid-pricer and hopper, and then 2 rookies. Sorry, let me switch that out for the time being, because I don't like seeing Constable there or Roberts. At least 1 deep in the ruck line. Marshall will be a luxury trade down the track, and then I'm 4 deep. Potentially 5 with Sheasel. So we still don't know if he's going to be a keeper. First year rookie is a big ask, but we'll say 4.5 deep in the forward line. So across the board, super, super happy with that. And you'll see that my projected score reflects that. So to go from, what I scored on the weekend, 21.88 or whatever it was, without Day and Green in my side, with both those guys being on the bench due to suspension, with the fact that they've come back into the team, it's going to help me immensely. Already they're going to give me 100, 200, 210 odd points straight up just by having these guys in my team, compared to a McKenna, compared to a Cowan, Roberts, Johnson, all those guys. So yeah, that's kind of where I stand at the moment. So super happy with that. We'll tuck away that watch list yet again, and we'll go again for next week. But that's kind of where I'm at. That's where I sit heading into next week. If I can score close to this mark, that will help catapult me into the top 10k, hopefully the top 5k, and put me in a nice little position ahead of the buyers, really. But yeah, that's where I'm at. Look out for our full episode, weekly episode. Of course, it is a bit of a quick turnaround between round 6 and round 7. So we will be recording it today, or tonight, tonight, on Wednesday, the 26th of April, and hopefully have it out the same night, otherwise Thursday morning, for your viewing and listening pleasure. So that's another episode of Damo's Team Talk. Hopefully that gives you a bit of an insight into my strategies, my trades. And as always, if you have any questions with regards to your own team, with regards to cash cows, players, primos, fallen primos, who to jump on first, all that sort of hoopla, make sure to head to Twitter and hit us up on at @supercoach_edge. And you can check us out on Facebook as always as well. And if you haven't, of course, liked or subscribed, feel free to do so. If you can subscribe, help us on our way, as I said, to our 1K subscriber mark. That would be greatly appreciated. So thumbs up for that. And we'll catch you. I'm losing my voice. I need some water. We'll leave you guys to it, guys and girls, and we'll catch you same time, same place. We'll see you next week.